Hi, I'm Jason, and this tutorial is going to introduce you to some of the highest levels in the SolidWorks API library. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to open up a part I have ready, and you can see this is a very simple part. It has two cubes, and each cube is a different feature. And for this first demo, what we want to do is just create a macro that suppresses the first feature, something like this. So to get started, let's create a new macro. Okay, I got my new macro created. So what I need to do is create a feature, which is going to be boss extrude 1, and then suppress that feature. So first, let's create our feature instance. So dim, call it SW feature. And that's going to be a feature instance. And what I need to do is then suppress that feature. So I'm actually going to need to create a Boolean to do that. So create that. I'll call it bool status. Okay. And now to suppress this SW feature, there's a method within a feature instance, which is set suppression to. So to use it, I say bool status equals SW feature dot set suppression to, and then I'll just add in those parameters 0, 2, and nothing. Okay. So I've created my SW feature, and what I want to do is use this SW feature to suppress boss extrude 1. And I do that by calling the set suppression to method on my SW feature. So let's run this. And it didn't work. Okay, so why didn't this work? I'm getting an error that says object variable or width block variable not set. Basically, what this error is telling us is that SolidWorks does not know what feature we want to work with. So if I hit debug, they're saying there's something wrong with this line. SolidWorks does not know what feature I'm trying to suppress. It understands that I'm trying to access a feature instance, and I'm calling the suppression to method, but beyond that, it doesn't know what we're talking about. So try to understand this, that on my computer, I've created probably hundreds of SolidWorks parts, and that means there's probably thousands of SolidWorks features that I've created. And SolidWorks doesn't know which feature we're trying to work with. So what we need to do is create a path to this boss extrude feature that we do want to suppress, and then set that equal to our SolidWorks feature, and then from there, call the set suppression to method. So what we need to do is create a path right to this feature. So where is this feature located? Well, in an intuitive sense, our feature, boss extrude 1, is located within a part document, and this part document is located within the SolidWorks application itself. So it kind of looks something like this, where the feature is an object that's within another object, a part document, and that part document is within the SolidWorks application. So if I could find my SolidWorks application, I could then find my part document, and then once I have my part document, I could then find my my boss extrusion feature. So this is kind of like a similar method that we're going to use to try to find this boss extrude feature. What we need to do is create a path to our SolidWorks window. Then within our SolidWorks window, create a path to our active part document. And then once we're in our part document, create a path to this boss extrude 1 feature. And then from there, we can do whatever we want with that feature. And in this case, simply suppress it. So let's do just that. So the first thing that we want to do is create a path to our SolidWorks window. And this is going to be an instance of SLDWorks. Let's go back to our code. Now the first step is pretty easy. And the reason why is when we create a new macro, SolidWorks already creates the code necessary to access the SolidWorks window. And it's this line of code right here. It's creating a generic object SWApp, and setting it equal to application.SLDWorks. That means SWApp is going to be our SolidWorks window. One thing that it does is it casts the SWApp as a generic object. Let's just change that. And we'll just early bind it to SolidWorks.SolidWorks. And we didn't need to do this. The only reason why we're doing it is this will allow IntelliSense to work for SWApp. Okay. Now that we've created a path to our, now that actually the SolidWorks code itself already created a path to our SolidWorks window, the next thing that we need to do is create a path to our part document. To do that, we first need to create a model document. So I'm going to create a model document, and I'll call it SW model doc as model doc2. And then we are going to set our model doc to our open window within SolidWorks. And to do that, we are going to use a method within SWApp, which is active doc. Actually, it's a property. So what this does, this line of code does, is it's going to create, it's going to return a model doc, which is whatever window happens to be open, whatever window we can actually work on within SolidWorks. But to actually access any of the features, we actually need to create a part document. So to do that, we gotta go dim, create a part document, part doc. And now we have to, from our model doc, find a path to our part document. So create a path to our active part document. That's what we need to do in our next line of code. And to do this, I have to kind of write this weird line of code, which is setting a part document equal to a model doc. Now this kind of seems weird because we're setting a part document equal to a model document. I have two different things and I'm setting them equal to each other. This is kind of weird, and I'll explain this later in this tutorial. But what we've done so far with these two lines of code is created a path from our SolidWorks window, which is kind of highlighted in this blue box, to our part document, which is this red box. So now, if we go back to our code, you can think of this SW part doc as being equal to our open part doc within SolidWorks. Since our feature is within this part document, you can kind of guess that we can use the this SW part doc to access the features. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I've already created a feature up here. Now what I need to do is say, what we need to do is get this feature to be equal to boss extrude 1. So if I can use my part document, I can say, hey, part doc, find boss extrude 1 feature and return it to SW feature. So the next line of code we need to do is use SW part doc to find boss extrude 1. And then from there, set SW feature equal to boss extrude 1. So to do that, what I'm going to simply say is set SW feature equal to SW part doc dot, and there's a method where you can find features within a part document by name. It's very convenient. So I'm just going to go and I'm just going to say feature by name. And all I need to do is then type in the name of the feature, which in this case is boss extrude 1. And this line of code will set SW feature equal to boss extrude 1. Now that I've done this, I've created a path all the way from my highest level object, which is SW app, which is a SolidWorks window, all the way down to the feature we're trying to suppress. Now that SolidWorks knows what SW feature is, it's going to be boss extrude 1. When I run this macro, it will suppress boss extrude 1. So let's run that. You can see when I run, boss extrude 1 was suppressed. So just to recap, what we did is create a path to the feature we wanted to work with. We started with the SolidWorks window. We said, hey, SolidWorks, within yourself, there's going to be a part document. Find it. Once you found this part document, look within the part document for a feature and then suppress that feature. So we set SW app equal to our SolidWorks window. We then looked through our window to find a part document, and we had to do that in 2 lines of code. We had to create a model doc and a part document to do that. Then once we had this part document created, we said, hey, part document, look through yourself, find a feature called boss extrude 1, and set that equal to SW feature. Once we had SW feature set equal to boss extrude, we could then suppress it. Now let's talk about these 2 lines of code, which are kind of weird. Okay, so let's talk about this line of code and why it's so weird. After all, we are setting a part doc equal to a model doc. And at this point, they kind of seem like different things. So what's going on? Well, in software speak, what's going on is part document is descendant from model doc. So model doc's a superclass and part doc is the descendant class. So in human speak, what does that mean? Well, in SolidWorks, you can make 3 different types of documents. You can make a drawing document, a part document, or an assembly document. Across those 3 documents, there are some commonality. And if you want to work with some of that, if you just want to work with the features, if you just want to work with the parts that are common across those documents, all you need is basically just a generic model doc. Then if you want to do something that's specific to a part document per se, then you'd have to create an instance of a part doc and set it equal to model doc. Okay. And how would you know, or how did I know at least, to do this? Well, I had to kind of just fumble around through the SolidWorks API library just to try to figure this out. And of course, I looked at a whole bunch of macros to try to figure this out. There's some easier ways you can go about doing this. Like I mentioned before, you can start flipping through the SolidWorks API tree, or a SolidWorks API library, which is what this clip is, what you're seeing. Another way you can do about it that's fairly easy is just go onto Google, image search SolidWorks API or SolidWorks API tree, and then this will get, and then just flip through the images and you'll find a variety of SolidWorks API's tree pictures that someone made for you. So this is just one I just took off of Google Google image search, it kind of gives you the generic breakdown of the class structure within SolidWorks API. So as you can see at the top, you have the top highest level of SolidWorks, which is the SLDWorks class. From there, you can create a model doc and a variety of other instances. And then from model doc, you can create specific documents such as part document, assembly document, and drawing document, and it goes further and further on. So if you want to see how the SolidWorks API tree is structured, class tree is structured, just Google image search it. It's the easiest thing to do. So just try to understand what a model doc2 is. When you create any type of document, you are creating a model doc. So you can think of a model doc as either a part doc, assembly doc, or drawing doc. You can actually think of them as all of those. And a model doc is just the commonality, anything that's common across all three of the documents is what model doc is going to give you access to. So again, back to the example that I just showed you, where we suppressed a feature that was in a part document. To do that, to get to that feature, that specific feature, since SolidWorks doesn't know what feature we were working with, we had to create a path to it. In order to create a path, we had to start with the highest level object in SolidWorks. Then from there, create a model doc and a part doc, which is just the part document you work on when you're creating a part in SolidWorks. And then from there, you'll be able to access the feature within that part document. So again, if you want to try to visualize what we just did in the SolidWorks API tree, this is it. Start from the top and made a path all the way down to the feature that we want to work with. Now, if you look at this, you notice that there are some of these branches going off to the right, which are right from model doc. They're not part of part doc, assembly doc, or drawing doc. These branches right here are basically what is common across all three documents. For example, in any type of document, part doc, assembly doc, or drawing doc, we can create a sketch. So in this next example I'm going to show you really quickly is just that. It's a macro that can create a sketch on any document regardless of what document is open. Okay, here it is. So if you look at this code right here, so it's a short macro, you notice that the only document instance I have is a model doc. I don't have a part doc, a drawing doc, or an assembly doc. And the reason why I don't need that is because I'm making a drawing and you can do that on any document. So an intuitive way to figure out what kind of features are part of a model doc rather than a specific document type is anything that you can do while working on these documents that you can do across all three documents is going to be part of the model doc instance. So for example, I can make a sketch on a part document, and of course I can create a sketch in a drawing document, and as you can see, here's a sketch on a drawing document, and of course I can do an assembly document. Since I can draw a sketch on any type of document, all I need to do the same thing through code is create an instance of the model doc. So let me just open up, just to give you a brief example. I have a part document open, and if I run this macro, I can create a sketch. And of course, I can do that on any type of document. I can do it on an assembly document. Run the macro, creates the same sketch. And I can run, of course, this macro on a drawing document, and it will also work. Come on. Okay. If I run, I get the same sketch. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. The big things, the big ideas that we learned in this tutorial was, if you want to work with a specific, like a component, feature, a body, something that's embedded within a document, what you need to do is create a path from the highest level of SolidWorks object all the way down to that feature. And the reason why is you have created many features, many parts, many documents. SolidWorks needs to know what object you want to work with. The other thing that we learned is any traits, attributes, features that are shared across all three document types can be accessible through ModelDoc. Then if you want to do something specific, or something that's, if you want to do a task that's only specific to a certain type of document, then you have to create an instance of that specific document and set it equal to your ModelDoc. Okay, if you have any questions about SolidWorks API, just leave it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.